prices in Australia have been constantly rising, and they will continue to rise into the future. Ever since the beginning of the 21st century, house prices have increased by over 30%, with the average house costing just below 300,000 Australian dollars, compared to today's average of over 1 million Australian dollars per house. By the year 2050, at the current rate of inflation, each house will cost around $2 million, as shown in this graph. To allow for there to be enough housing and to keep the prices as low as possible, Australia will need to produce an extra 180,000 homes before 2050, just to support the growing population. However, thanks to urban sprawl, during the year 2016, 30,000 new homes were built across the country. While the house prices also greatly increased, in order to accommodate our cities of the future and our increased population growth, we must also build new infrastructure in our cities to keep up with demand. In the future, the below average income will not be able to afford to live anywhere near the city at the current rate of price inflation. Australia is projected to have over 30 million people by 2050, of which 80% are going to live in the cities and surrounds. So as a nation, Australia needs to speed up its infrastructure development, as we will need a place to put them all.
Australia's population is expected to grow 60% from the 28 million currently today to near 40 million by 2050. Sydney and Melbourne are expected to have the population growth by 80% to reach almost 7.7 million each. Housing will then have to hold 610,000 more Australians than they held back in 2015. Australia's population over the years has a growth of around 400,000 residents each year from 2000. This all connecting to the concern of housing and where people would stay in Australia if it kept growing. If there will be higher costs for the housing or less to make it easier for everyone. And as seen from the graph, from 2000 we started with 19 million, and as the year passes, the dots rise exponentially. And as said before, growth for Australia's population could rise to 40 million by then. But as for next year, it looks to reach 25.2 million.
That fuel prices are very much all over the place. They're constantly going from a low price to a high price. In 2016, the fuel price in Australia was recorded at $1.20, which wasn't the lowest we've had, but it was very close, as in 2009 we had a fuel price of $1.24. But in 2018, our fuel price is, in medium, $1.48. And the closest that isn't the highest we've had, but in the past 10 years, that seems to be the third highest price we've had. This could be led on because of the different fuels we have in Australia. So we have diesel, LPG, and unleaded petrol. And the fuel prices differentiate between these fuels, as different fuels are used at different amounts throughout the community, because not everybody has the same cars that require the same fuel.
In the graph shown on the screen, it is representing median fuel prices each year, starting from 2001 all the way up until 2037, which is only listed on the graph, but the data is meant to go up to 2050. But as you can see, the line of best fit, which goes through the diagram, starting from the bottom left corner up until 3/4 into the page and ends up going off, it shows that fuel prices are dramatically going up and will continue to go up throughout the years that we have fuel in the world. But this graph doesn't consider that electric cars may be introduced into the world and take out fuel prices.
Fossil fuels are a big problem in our society today and are one of our main pollutants in the air, as they are one of our main sources of fuel and power. This is a bad thing, as the way that we use fossil fuels is by burning it, which releases a lot of greenhouse gases into the air, such as carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxides, and sulfur dioxide. This way of using fossil fuels is also bad, as fossil fuels are non-renewable energy, meaning that once it is used, it is gone. Some other main ways that we use fossil fuels involve transportation. Vehicles such as cars, buses, and airplanes produce a lot of carbon dioxide, as on average, 1 mile on a plane produces 53.3 pounds of carbon dioxide. From the graph that I have made, I have extended the current information that we have on air pollution. From my information, I have concluded that our pollution will go down as we start to rely less on fossil fuels and rely more on renewable energy.